Frontline footage has emerged showing Ukrainian troops fiercely engaged in urban warfare in the streets of Chasivyar. The intense bodycam images capture Ukrainian fighters defending stairwells, firing from windows, and navigating through the shattered remains of the town. An infantry fighting vehicle is seen providing critical support to the embattled Ukrainian infantry. Despite the high cost, Ukrainian forces are determined to hold their ground against a determined Russian assault. Drone footage from the vicinity of Kurikivka, a suburb west of Donetsk, depicts a Russian armored assault group attempting to breach Ukrainian lines. The vehicles are swiftly immobilized by mines and FPV drones, forcing Russian troops to dismount. These dismounted troops are then mercilessly targeted by drone-dropped munitions, highlighting the lethal effectiveness of Ukrainian drone operations. Additional footage reveals the catastrophic failure of Russian turtle tanks, which are modified with additional armor for increased survivability. Despite these modifications, a Russian turtle tank is seen smoldering before ultimately exploding. While applying such modifications to outdated tanks like the T-54 might make sense, the appearance of modern T-80 variants as turtle tanks raises questions about their effectiveness, seemingly negating the platform's inherent advantages. Further drone footage captures a Russian tank, heavily encumbered with a massive anti-drone cage and improvised armor, being struck by a Ukrainian bomb drone. The drone's rear strike sets the tank ablaze, and a subsequent loitering munition finishes it off with a spectacular explosion, igniting the tank's onboard fuel and munitions. Since the early hours of July 23, Ukrainian forces have faced relentless attempts by Russian invaders to dislodge them from their positions. According to official reports, the enemy has made 83 such attempts, with combat clashes still ongoing in 17 locations. The Russian forces are most active in the Pokrovsky direction, demonstrating their continued aggression. In the past 24 hours, Ukrainian forces have inflicted significant losses on the enemy. Russian casualties have reached 1,220 personnel. Additionally, Ukrainian defenders have destroyed 4 tanks, 20 armored combat vehicles, 57 artillery systems, 2 anti-aircraft guns, and 1 air defense vehicle. One of the fiercest battlegrounds is currently in the Toretsk direction. Here, the Russian forces, despite outnumbering the Ukrainian defenders, have been unable to break through. The 95th Separate Polish Assault Brigade is holding the line under immense pressure. Colonel Oleg Apostle, the brigade's commander, described the current battles as the most difficult he has faced since taking command 3 weeks ago. The Russian army is actively targeting the Toretsk and Pokrovsky directions, heavily shelling frontline cities and launching multi-sided assaults. They have made some advances in the eastern front line, including Krasnohorivka, near Kurdyamivka, New York, Zalizny, northern Karlivka, and Novoselivka Pershii. Military journalist Bohdan Miroshnikov reported on the enemy's shift in tactics near Chasivyar, focusing efforts on the extreme points of the site, specifically the Kalinivka and Andrivka areas. Despite head-on attacks, the occupiers have recognized the slow progress and are now concentrating on flanking maneuvers. In Kalinivka, the Russians control 80% of the village. In Karlivka, the enemy is methodically advancing towards the dam of the reservoir, but Ukrainian forces are actively working to slow and stop this progression. Meanwhile, in New York, the Russians' progress is hindered by vigilant Ukrainian defenses from Shirokobaka. Despite reaching the industrial zone, Ukrainian forces are employing strategic planning to stall further enemy advancements. Russian forces are currently replenishing their personnel in Zaporizhia Oblast, according to Ukrainian intelligence reports. However, there are no signs yet of these forces forming an offensive group. The nature of the hostilities in the operational zone of the Tavria Operational Strategic Group remains a positional confrontation. Lakovia noted that the Russians are unable to conduct active assault operations on multiple fronts simultaneously. Meanwhile, Ukrainian rocket forces and artillery continue to perform effectively. On July 21, Ukrainian troops destroyed a Tor and a Buk M1 anti-aircraft missile system near the settlements of Ukrainka and Zrazkov in Zaporizhia Oblast. Lieutenant General Yuri Sodol, former commander of the Khortytsia Operational Strategic Group of Forces and former Joint Forces commander, played a significant role in repelling a Russian assault on Kharkiv Oblast. On the morning of May 10, Sodol arrived at the operational command post of the 125th Territorial Defense Brigade. He stayed at the command post from early morning until night, accompanied by a group of Khortytsia officers, overseeing the defense efforts. The group remained with the brigade for 3 to 4 days, closely monitoring the situation. Ukraine's Ministry of Defense reports that over 20 prototypes of specialized light vehicles, designed for maneuvering over difficult terrain and activities on water, have been codified and authorized for use by the armed forces in the first half of 2024. This is a significant increase compared to 2023, when 7 models were added to the Defense Forces armament. The new vehicles include buggies, motorcycles with electric and internal combustion engines, 4- and 6-wheeled ATVs, and hexocycles. Additionally, jet skis have been standardized for water transportation purposes. These additions come from well-known manufacturers in the United States, Asia, and Europe, enhancing the mobility and capability of Ukraine's forces.